All right, everyone, welcome to the April 20th meeting of Economic Development. I'm calling this meeting to order pursuant to the pursuant to Section 70 of the Open Meetings Act. Members are permitted to attend remotely. Either one member of the committee, the chief administrative officer, or chief legal counsel are physically present at the meeting location. In-person attendance and public comments are allowed, subject to attendance limitations required by the health and safety of all those who attend. So, Ms. Everett, can we get a roll call, please?
Sure. Chavez.
Here.
Selman.
Here.
Renahan. Eckhoff. DeCiani.
Here.
Rutledge.
Here.
Okay, great. I just have a few chairwoman's comments. I want to thank Red Betalov and Beth Marchetti for all the work they've put in the last few weeks to start to prepare for the recovery plan dollars. I know that because of all their hard work and preparation, that once we get to that point where we have to start making some decisions on allocations, we're going to be more than prepared. So I really want to thank them for all the internal meetings that they've been having. I also want to thank Lisa Shabak at WorkNet for the recent event that we had with Hanover Park and coordinating with the business partners in that area. And just a huge shout out to all of her staff at WorkNet and the people in Hanover Park, the mayor's office. I think it was a tremendous event that I think we can definitely replicate in other areas so that we can draw in our business leaders and let them know about all the resources here in DuPage County. And then lastly, on diversity and inclusion ad hoc, I wanted to update everyone, since that was a little bit born out of this committee, that we have had a lot of internal meetings. And so the wheels are definitely turning. It looks like we're going to be able to launch this committee in early June. So those details will be forthcoming, but it's a big piece of a pie here that we're trying to make sure that we do right. So the internal meetings have been very critical, and I think you'll see that once we get to committee. So that is definitely in the works. So let's move on to public comment. Do we have public comment?
We do not.
Okay, wonderful. So then informational on the Liquidity Incumbent Worker Training Memo. Do we have anyone to speak to that today?
Oh, sorry, yes, that's me. Incumbent Worker Training Memo for Liquidity. It is a, I don't know if anybody can see it. It is a IT firm, and they are training several of their employees on to get industry recognized credentials so that they can take on new contracts and become more competitive, which is of course the spirit of that grant.
Okay, wonderful. And do you need anything from us upcoming, or?
No,
Just informational.
Strictly informational, yes.
Okay, wonderful. All right, so then we can move on. Well, actually, just procedurally, should I move 7B up now since we're in informational? Is that the best way to handle that?
Don't say to go ahead and work your agenda and see how far we get.
We missed approval.
Chairwoman Chavez, we need to do the approval of the minutes.
Yeah.
Oh, I apologize. I skipped that, didn't I? Thank you for drawing that to my attention. Okay, so let's approve the minutes from our last meeting, which was March 16th. So can I get a motion to approve?
And I'll second.
Okay, great. And a roll call, please.
Chavez.
Aye.
Selman.
Aye.
Renahan. Eckhoff. DeCiani. Rutledge.
Aye.
Okay, wonderful. So then let's move on to procurement requisitions. So I'd like to request a motion to approve the recommendation for an approval of a contract purchase order to Carroll Stream Chamber of Commerce for one-stop operator services for July 1st, 2021 through June 30th, 2023, not to exceed $41,254, and it's bid number 21-8-WD.
Second, Rutledge.
Wonderful. Are there any questions or discussion? Go ahead, Member Rutledge.
Thank you, Chairwoman. Lisa, do we do these with several chambers, or is this a unique situation with Carroll Stream?
So we did a full procurement. We're required to do a full competitive procurement. We posted it obviously publicly, sent out to almost 50 entities that are qualified. Carroll Stream responded, Carroll Stream Chamber, and so thereby they were evaluated and won the contract.
Thank you.
All right, anything else? All right, so we have a motion and a second. Can I get a roll call, please?
Chavez.
Aye.
Selman.
Aye.
Renahan. Eckhoff. DeCiani.
Aye.
Rutledge.
Aye.
All right, so we have a slight procedural move for 7B, which is just that for our committee, this is really supposed to be just an informational only item. And it was misplaced under procurement where we might vote on it. It will only get voted on in Public Works and Transportation. So for the purposes of our committee, it's just informational only. So this is for, pardon,
Motion to place on file.
please.
Need a second?
Can I get a second?
Second, sorry.
Is there any question or discussion on this or questions? It will impact the Diversity and Inclusion Committee, and it's just looking to get CNH advisors to come in an advisory capacity. Okay, wonderful. All right, so we just have a few updates today. We'll start with WorkNet.
Don't need to vote on it.
Okay.
Pardon?
Yeah, we're just clarifying here in the room that we don't need to vote on that item. Thank you, Chair.
Okay. All right, thank you. All right, wonderful. So let's move on to the update from Lisa Shabak.
Trying to figure out the best place to stand here. so you
The
can-
microphone is right there, the
Okay.
green light.
Good.
Oh, that's perfect.
That looks good.
Good. Okay, so we're pulling up, I think, my presentation here. So, oops, let's choose.
Oh, that's one other. There we go.
So the first slide that you'll be seeing, if I recall correctly, is unemployment data snapshot, yes. So the most current data that we have in Illinois is for February. As you can see, the US rate 6.2, DuPage County is 6.3, which is the lowest of the collar counties. But what I wanted to also draw attention to, that number looks relatively encouraging. The labor force participation rate, however, which indicates percentage of the population that's 16 or older who are not, who are working or actively looking for work within the past month. You can see that that's where you can see those people that are not engaged in the workforce and are not looking. And that has been a significant drop from January 2019 to the present. January 2019, we were at 64.7% in the state of Illinois. And as of March, we are 61.5%. So that's hundreds of thousands of people, I don't have the exact figure, that are no longer, that aren't currently actively searching for work. And that's where you see that COVID impact of people that are disengaged from the workforce currently for a variety of reasons. Next slide, please.
So they're not working, but they're not looking for work either, right?
Correct. Not actively looking for work within the past month or more. So with that being said, one of the things that we're hearing and our business solutions team is hearing is that all employers basically everywhere that are contacting us can't find enough people, quote unquote. That goes across all sectors. We're hearing from, of course, our manufacturers, but I recently met with 2 hotels that I connected with through DCVB. They are having trouble calling people back or filling roles. Banks, hospitals, warehouses, you name it. The story that we're hearing right now is we can't find enough people. Also, even opportunities, and I put an example of one here. I recently had a meeting with the head of the culinary and hospitality department at COD. They have an apprenticeship opportunity there. They can't currently fill demand that they're hearing from restaurants of all things. They hear from approximately 10 to 12 restaurants, he said, each day that are looking for culinary students to fill various roles or take on internships. And you can see that job, new jobs, that's a posting that we put up regularly on social media, updated, that reflects the jobs that we're getting in from area employers. It's everything you can see on there: accounting, finance, sales, admin, TDL, et cetera. So just wanted to kind of put that out there as a snapshot of what we're experiencing. Next slide, please. This is our January through March snapshot for WorkNet DuPage. So we connected 552 new clients to services, obviously including our own, but including those of our partners as well. We funded 103 individuals, new clients, for training, and total, including existing clients that we expended, was $387,076. You could see the vouchers by sector. We issued vouchers for 132 IT training programs, 37 healthcare, 31 admin office other, 16 for TDL, which is primarily truck driving licenses, and then 15 for construction trades manufacturing. So to give you a taste of kind of who's coming in and the talent that we're developing, the workforce that we're developing. Next slide. January, March snapshot, moving on with that. So for that quarter, our new WorkNet registrants, I thought that this would be of interest to the committee. Those individuals that we're required to collect demographic information, and these are the categories that are required by WIOA. Those that indicated yes to the question, do they identify as Hispanic Latino, we had 16.5% of our new registrants for that quarter. And in italics, you'll see impact DuPage data. That is the demographics of the total population of DuPage County. So I kind of like that to look at that side by side to see how we're doing. American Indian or Alaskan Native obviously was a little bit lower, 1.9% compared to 0.27 of the entire county. Those that identify as Black, 23.3% versus 5.18% for the county as a whole. 13.6 Asian, 12.93, and then 61.2% of our new registrants were white, as opposed to 73% of the overall population. You can see the female male breakdown there. This is sort of interesting because there's more female population in DuPage County by a hair than male, but you can see that even women that are engaging with our services are lower. And again, that speaks to the disruption of COVID, the childcare issues, and so forth. Almost 5% of our individuals identified as having a disability, and the average age of our clients was 44. And then on the right, you can see the top 8 cities in the county that we had the largest number of new participants from registrants, Naperville being the highest at 17, and you can see the others on there as well. Next slide, please. To give you a brief update on community-based partnerships and things that we have going on, we continue to work with our partners at Just of DuPage and the Sheriff's Office to expand on reentry programming for individuals that are being released from the jail. We're looking at some innovative ways to expand vocational training options for individuals in the jail. It's temporarily kind of on hold, but I will continue to keep the committee posted on that. We have developed and expanded our partnership with the Regional Office of Education. We're doing information sessions in English and Spanish in partnership with them. And they have an apprenticeship expansion initiative that is picking up some steam with DuPage high schools. That's pretty exciting. We continue to support contact tracer salaries at the health department. And we continue to work with World Relief to address manufacturing skills shortage. And I think that is that my last one? Oh, and of course, ways to share support. I've linked a couple things there if you would like to share on your own social media feeds. We always really appreciate that. I can send out this presentation as always after the meeting so that you have this data as well as these links. And I would be happy to take any questions.
Lisa, would you say the issue with, I'm hearing out of the restaurants and they can't find people. A lot of the people feel that they got stimulus money coming until September. So if they collect unemployment, stay home, not work, and make just as much as they were working. So it seems like some of our stimulus is causing the problem of employment.
I would say that that's definitely contributing. Obviously, I don't have any data to support that, but having done this type of work for 18 years now, that is what happens. When we went through the financial crisis, we saw a big long-term unemployment problem because people wrote out those, or in that case, they couldn't find jobs. This is much different because there are lots of jobs out there. People are not re-engaging for what I'm sure are a variety of reasons.
Yep.
But that is where we're at right now, that we're right back where we started pre-COVID, but for different reasons where these businesses can't find enough workers.
I just had a question on how long the grant for the contact tracers will go. Is there an end date for that, or?
Yes, so part of the grant will be spent on training dollars. So that part will expire March of next year.
Okay.
We're going to fund the contact tracers as of now through December.
Thank you.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much for the update. And now let's move to Choose DuPage with Greg Betelov. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you, Chair Chavez. Pleasure to be with you this morning. Thank you very much for the kind comments on our work with the CVB. It's been a pleasure working with Beth and her team, whether it's in the past on the marketing initiatives and the Reinvest DuPage program, or whatever the county board decides to do with the American Rescues Plan program. So we have a very brief report as well. If someone saw it pop up a minute ago when Amy's report was going to pop up. while that's being pulled up, I'm not going to go over the unemployment trends. Lisa did give you all a kind of an overview of that. But what I do want to comment on is the comment that Lisa made, and for Member DeCiani's follow-up question, we are working very closely with several manufacturers, specifically in DuPage County. You saw GelCert on that list. There's a company called FIC America. They are ramping up. They are ready to go back to work full-time. They were forced to furlough many of their employees, and now, as Lisa indicated, they just can't get those employees to come back. The problem is being exacerbated because of the recent legislation that has been passed regarding extension of COBRA benefits, which, as you know, Choose DuPage does not take political statements. We're not a PAC. We are not a 501c3. However, we are hearing from many, primarily manufacturers, who've had employees that have had to go on to COBRA, who have come back for a first interview that have not come back for a second interview, simply because of the fact that now that COBRA costs are being covered as well, it's exacerbating the problem for the manufacturing community. So with that being said, if we could scroll down past the unemployment trends and job opportunities, which I mentioned Lisa covered. We'd like to give you a brief update on our real estate report. And all of this information, as always, is available on our website. We continue to see a rise in Class A office vacancy rate. That's no surprise in light of COVID. That vacancy rates in DuPage County the total vacancy rate is 15.8%, which is higher than our competition set. And we had a 1.3 million square feet of negative absorption. That means an additional 1.3 million square feet of office space came on the market. You can see what's happening in Cook County. 3.2 million square feet of office space is coming on the market in Cook County. We pay particular attention to our Class A office vacancy rate, which is currently at 21%. This typically hovers between 14 and 15%. We can scroll down just a little bit. The other thing that we're seeing a dramatic increase in is the sublet activity. I'm sure you know what sublease means, but a tenant is in a building, they have space, and they're actively trying to sublease that space. That's an indication, as we indicated at several of our previous meetings, that companies are right-sizing and companies are adapting to virtual workplaces, which reduces their square footage requirement and is going to change the face of how businesses work in the future. We scroll down, please. Positive note, our industrial vacancy rate is 5%. And you don't typically, I know sometimes we don't typically think of DuPage County as an industrial area. However, we're proud of the fact that we believe our industrial marketplace and our industrial sector is what I like to refer to as an inch deep and a mile wide across multiple sectors of the manufacturing community. We're currently hovering around 5% vacancy rate. We had a positive absorption of 5.3 million square feet. So that's really great news. That's a lot of industrial space that was vacant that is now back in the marketplace. And what's equally interesting in this, as this slide indicates, is the average price is $7.60 per square foot from a lease perspective. So landlords are still able to command a good price. We think that that is due to the quality of the workforce, the transportation, and the infrastructure that continues to support industrial opportunities in DuPage. We can scroll down a little bit further. We see that our retail vacancy rate has climbed from 7% to 7.7%. Again, no surprise, this is, we believe, due to COVID. We're starting to see some of the malls that have some of the anchor stores that have had challenges associated with e-commerce and the like repurpose themselves, and our current vacancy rate in the retail marketplace is 7.7%. Next slide, please. Oh, I'm sorry, I think that's it. So this is on our website. One additional note, I commend the committee and I thank you for the work that you're doing on the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Group. Chris Snyder and that team has been in touch with me, and I really look forward to engaging the business community to see how we can have a more robust and diverse business community in DuPage through this initiative. Thank you very much. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any questions? All right, seeing none, that was, oh, go ahead, Member Selman.
Yeah, just quickly, kind of going back to the previous conversation about the employment vacancies, and I'm sorry, I had to jump back to JPS, so I might have missed part of it. Have you seen any increase in wages or perks being offered to try to recruit? I mean, I know a lot of people who worked in restaurants and have no desire to go back until they're vaccinated and the public's vaccinated because of the interaction and just how unfortunately toxic it's sort of been over the last year. So I'm just wondering if the employers are trying to make the jobs more attractive through pay and compensation and benefits, or if we just haven't seen that yet.
Well, we haven't seen it across the board yet, Member Selman, but we have seen it. I have spoken to 3 or 4 businesses that have done the analysis in terms of what it's going to take in their minds to make it more financially palatable for employees to return to the workplace. And unfortunately, the numbers that they're reviewing with me, and we're sending, by the way, it's been great to work with Lisa Shavak and her team on this. We are sending all of these people to WorkNet and in all of these businesses in an effort to tap into their resources. Unfortunately, the answer to your question is yes, businesses are looking at it, and the numbers do not support what the business can afford in an effort to get the employee to return back to work and maintain the profit that the business has typically or traditionally enjoyed. So more to come on that, I think, is the short answer.
Thank you. That's really interesting. Thank you.
To piggyback on what Greg said a little bit also, I've heard from a few companies that are looking at things like sign-on bonuses or different sort of incentives like that. But to your point, Member Selman, I think that it's very important to keep that in mind, that some of these careers to start with maybe weren't people's top choice or like their final landing point. And so now people are kind of exploring other options. So there's a lot of reasons why I think this is happening, but a big part of it would be that some of these positions were frankly underpaid, to begin with. And the employers now we're hearing the same thing that Greg just said, that they're looking at, okay, so how maybe we'll bump it up a couple dollars or something like that. So yeah, it's complex, but yeah, I'm hearing a little bit more talk of sign-on bonuses than ever before.
And
really interesting.
Point, if you all want to learn more about it from a macroeconomic perspective, I would encourage you to join the DuPage Regional Business Outlook event on April 28th. This had been the event that we typically held at the Drury Lane Theater, where over 1,000 C-suite executives from throughout DuPage County attended to hear from economists and business owners. Unfortunately, due to COVID last year, we had to cancel the event. This year, in conjunction with our partners on the event, Ice Miller and Mesereau Financial, and our friends at Power Forward DuPage from the building trades, we are having a hybrid event where we will have a very limited, socially distanced, in-person audience who will hear from Kara Esser, who is a noted economist with Mesereau Financial, and Rick Bayless, who we're probably all familiar with from Frontera Grill and the like, will be talking about the challenges facing the business community. The event is going to be live streamed. So if you're not able to attend in person, you can watch the event online. Please visit the Choose DuPage website for more information. Boy, that sounded like a commercial, didn't it? Sorry.
It was a good one.
Yeah, I think the thing we have to be careful is, when businesses have to compete with government, meaning, the subsidy on unemployment's going to go till September, we have a huge demand for jobs, but yet we're competing, government stimulus is competing with private side demand of employees. That's a challenge. So hopefully the feds can figure out a way to be there to help, but not be there to enable. We don't want to enable people to stay home and collect a check when there's jobs available that they can actually go out and make a buck with. So that's a challenge. And when I hear my restaurants saying their employees are calling back and say, can you pay us cash because we can collect that unemployment check till September, that's not a good thing. So that's enabling people. So that's a problem. And again, restaurants are hugely hiring right now. I've got Victory Italian is opening up multiple restaurants and they can't find people. Again, those situations are coming up. Former employees are saying, can I work for cash? That's a problem. So hopefully the feds can figure that out. Again, a way to have a safety net, but not a way to enable people to not work. So.
And I think that that's a good point. It's the brilliance, I think, of Greg's team and Choose DuPage, and the way they look at this is, when they use previous stimulus dollars, how can we really lift up these businesses and these employees in the best possible way for them to all both have the long-term benefits of employment? And so I do think, to your point, it is a partnership that we need to look at. All right, any other questions or, unfortunately, I did receive a message this morning from Beth Marchetti at the DCVB that she is ill this morning. So we wish her all the best in getting well, and we will look forward to her update at the next meeting. So I think we can move on to old business. Is there any old business? Oh, Member Eckhoff.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I was a little late to the meeting because JPS ran over.
No worries.
Yesterday, when I read the minutes of the meeting, Julie Renahan and I were both late to the last meeting. And I just wanted the minutes to note, unless there's an objection from the committee, that I remember walking in and seeing Evelyn Sanguinetti, but then I had to leave to go to another meeting. So I would just like the record, the minutes of the last meeting to reflect that I was called out to another meeting and didn't skip your meeting.
Wonderful. So I don't see State's Attorney in the room anymore. Can we look into that? Perhaps Amy or Miss Everett, can we look into that to see how we can get that updated?
Absolutely.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you, Member Eckhoff, for bringing that to our attention. I know that Tuesday mornings are incredibly busy, and I just saw Member Renahan. It is a marathon for those that have JPS in the morning. So I don't know if we have any suggestions, but I know we're all trying to make it work. So Member Selman.
Yeah, just to sort of follow up, I know that many members have brought up that our schedule is just too condensed on these meetings. I've been working with Nick on revising our schedule to extend it later in the day. He's got a really good draft now and is working with department heads, and then we'll go to committee chairs to make sure he's not making a mistake and making the day worse for us. But I'm hoping, in the next few weeks, we'll have a schedule adjustment so that we can, because I know, Member Renahan and Member Eckhoff don't want to miss this meeting, of course, but are making sure they're meeting their other obligations too. So we're trying to make that a little better on the schedule end, at least.
Well, and just to reinforce that, that's one of the reasons why the diversity and inclusion ad hoc has been delayed, because we just frankly cannot find a spot for it to meet, given this packed meeting schedule. So we're waiting for a few of the ad hocs that are temporary to roll off in a sense, so that we can find some open time, so that we don't have to ask committee members or members of the board to attend on a Wednesday or a Thursday when they may have other obligations. So I think we're all feeling the pinch of these meeting schedules. So, but thank you for bringing it to our attention, Member Eckhoff, and I know hopefully we'll have some updates on that soon. So are there any other, Member Renahan.
I totally apologize for being late, and I just want to make sure, I got some excellent information yesterday from Lisa Shabak. Did you share that with everyone else? For youth development
program?
Yeah.
I absolutely.
Did you
can
talk about it
share
today?
No.
Okay. So she sent me I had an inquiry about summer jobs, right? I mean, it's been rough for these kids, right, over the past, 17 to 24-year-olds. And so I had requested some information. She sent me a great link. Lots of good stuff for young people. And I mean, if we can all put it out in the world a little bit, I think we can help some people out. So
Yeah, share that with the other.
I will share that along with our presentation from today. And I also have a kind of nifty video that I can see if we can share too, that has some testimonials. Sometimes those things really go over big on social media when you hear the youth talking about what their experience has been. And we have 3 of them, and it kind of starts off with one of our staff talking about what the process is like, a short little thing. So I can send that as well.
all right, perfect, cool, thanks.
Wonderful. And given the timing, it might be appropriate to have a little tidbit on that, or maybe we can see that as a committee for the next meeting too. So I think as our teens start coming back into town from college or wherever they are and looking for summer jobs as school wraps up, I think that's a great point. So thank you. All right, anything else for old business? All right, let's move on to new business. Seeing none there. So I think we do have to do a roll call for adjournment, if I'm not correct. All right, wonderful. So Ms. Everett,
Motion adjourned?
motion. Oh, I do need that first. Thank you. All right, roll call, please.
Chavez,
Aye.
Selman,
Aye.
Renahan, Eckhoff,
Aye.
DeCiani, Rutledge.
Aye.
All right, thank you, everyone. We're adjourned.